What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Detroit Lions' remaining salary cap this offseason. So let's get it started. Welcome in, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, this question has came up a ton. So many questions about the Detroit Lions salary cap. And it is a great question because it's so hard to keep up to date with, right? It's so confusing. We just get so many different numbers. We have no idea what's right and what's wrong. We have no idea how much money the Lions have, right? So we can't really make a decision if we don't know how much money the Lions have, right? We can't say, well, they should just go sign this guy. If we don't know how much money they have, it is so confusing. And right now, I think I have a pretty good answer about where the Detroit Lions are sitting for now and maybe even for the future. Now, we're not going to go super deep into this, right? We're not going to look at 2022. Here's what the Lions are going to have in cap. We're not going to do all that because there's still a lot of variables in the air, like a lot of them right now. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it very simple, basically on what the Lions have right now. That way, you know, maybe you guys can make your own judgments on whether or not the Lions should sign this guy or this guy, and maybe what Bob Quinn is doing right now. So let's talk about it. Now, most websites you will go to right now say the Detroit Lions have about 29 point something million dollars, right? $29 million. And, you know, hey, that's a lot of money, right? Third, but it really hasn't been updated from that. There really has been no update since there has been the talk about the Lions having about $30 million in cap space. However, as we know, recently there's been a lot of rookie signings for the Detroit Lions. They've been signing a lot of their drafted rookies, but that number hasn't changed. So obviously that number is changing, right? They're signing players. That number should go down. They have less cap space. And at this point, one drafted rookie that we have to sign, and that's Jayshon Cornell. Now, Jayshon Cornell, if we sign him, his contract will not be very expensive whatsoever. It'll be pretty darn cheap, probably less than $1 million, I think. So because of that, man, that's not going to have a huge impact on the cap. But for right now, most people are saying we have about 30. That's not actually true. We actually have somewhere around like 21 to $21.5 million right now. From what I could tell, that's where we're at by the math. It was about $8 million for the rookies that we signed, you know, from the draft class, because Jeffrey Okudah was just over $6 million. Swift kind of drops off because he's a second round pick. And then after that, they're pretty low. So that's about the money that we have now, around $21.5 million remaining this offseason. You hear that number, and you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, we got $20 million to spend. Let's just go spend it. Well, there's a lot that goes into it. Well, one, Bob Quinn will never spend all $21 million, all right? He does not want to have no money because there's a lot of things that come up during the season, whether you have to go sign someone, make negotiations, whatever it may be. You don't want to have basically no money, then you have to get rid of someone or make something else happen to bring in someone else, all right? That's not the situation Bob Quinn wants to be in. So he will never go that low. I mean, most of the time, you don't see him go under $5 million. Usually around $10 million is where he'll fall. It takes a lot of money away from what the Detroit Lions can do, but it's smart, all right? Don't waste all your money. Don't use all of your money. So the Detroit Lions, you know, they're not going to go spend $21 million. They're not going to go spend it all, but they may spend a little bit more because there is definitely a balance that they have to look at. Now, what is affecting what the Detroit Lions not signing anybody right now? Well, there's a couple of things affecting Bob Quinn waiting to sign. I would say the biggest thing that's affecting them not signing anybody is they don't know what they have on the field. See, the thing is, you sign players to get better, to improve at a certain position because you need help there. Maybe you need depth because of injuries, whatever it may be. But at this point, the Lions have no idea what they have on the field because they haven't practiced together yet. So for them, it would honestly not be a smart move to go out and sign somebody right now unless they truly believe there is an absolute hole somewhere. But if they believe that, hey, maybe we're okay here, and they're just not sure, just kind of just a wait and see approach, then it doesn't make any sense to go sign anybody because you don't know what the problem may be. You may sign someone for one position, and you may come back and say, gosh, dang it, that's not where we have problems. We are fine there. We need help here, but we already signed him. That's not the situation we want to be in, all right? So don't spend money now. They're going to wait. Now, that kind of hurts because there's certain players like Marcus Golden. We know if they want Marcus Golden, there's like a deadline on that when you can bring him in, or we'll end up being back with the New York Giants. So a guy like Marcus Golden seems very, very unlikely for that reason. But for the most part, we see a lot of free agents still out there, a lot of talented guys, Clowney, Everson Griffin, you know, Zeke Johnson. We see a lot of talented players still out there, and the reason being is because all these teams have not seen their players play yet. So that's a huge reason, right? And then on July 28th, training camp will kick off. So it won't be like, oh, July 28th, Lions are going to sign somebody. I don't think, unless they see a major hole day one. But it's probably going to be like a couple weeks into it, maybe sometime in August. If the Lions say, okay, we have a big problem here, we might need to address that, they might get out and do contract talks and see if they can work out with the players and stuff like that. Because right now, you don't even know what you have on the field, right? You know names, that doesn't tell you a lot, especially with new players, rookies, whatever it may be. So that's one reason the Lions are not going to go sign anybody right now. And two, it's also big depending on which free agent you're looking at. So if you're looking at a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, we'll just use him as an example because I don't think they will, but we'll just use it as an example. Signing a guy like Jadeveon Clowney will most likely be a multi-year deal, pretty long-term deal, like 3 to 4 years probably, I'm assuming. All right, whoever it is, let's just assume he's getting a 3 to 4 year deal. If that is the case, the Detroit Lions may stay away from a guy like that that's super expensive. Why? Because we don't know about next year's salary cap. See, right now, everything that's going on is going to probably drop the salary cap, and it has continued to get bigger and bigger every single year. But because of everything that's going on right now and a loss probably of revenue, there's going to be a lower salary cap next season, most likely. And because of that, Bob Quinn is going to want to be set up for next year where he's not scrambling to have money. So looking at them, if they're going to go sign a long-term guy, they need to make sure they want that guy. That's going to affect next year's cap. Now, if you sign a guy for 1 year, a veteran this season, obviously that won't affect next year unless you bring him back, but it won't affect you this year. So you can make moves like that because it won't affect what the salary caps can look like next year. We don't know what it's going to look like. It's just assumed it's probably going to drop, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it won't, maybe it does. I don't know. But because of that, long-term deals may not be the best move for the Detroit Lions. So that's why I could see them going with a guy like Everson Griffin or someone else. Maybe 2 years at max, but like a 1 year cheaper deal on a veteran. That's what I could see them doing for that reason. So since we don't know about the future of the salary cap and it looks like it could potentially go down, we know Bob Quinn's already pretty conservative with keeping money in case something happens. And now in this case, he may really want to keep his money because he doesn't know about the future. And the Detroit Lions sitting about $21 million. Some people have asked me, hey, the Lions have enough money to go, trade for this guy and sign this guy. I don't know, maybe, but I would say for the most part, if you're trying to do the math, think of the Lions not going under 10 million. Like, kind of set a line there. If you don't see a way, they have to try to find a balance between a team that can win now and a team that's built for the future, right? So they need money for both. And maybe they go out on the field and they're like, hey, we're good to go. We don't need to sign anybody. Or maybe they go on the field and like, yeah, we have some holes. We're going to have to fill those out. So we'll see what happens. They don't know yet. We don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, on paper, it looks fine. On paper, it looks fine. A lot of question marks, but obviously they're going to see it. We're not. So we'll see what happens. But I would say don't expect any signings just yet because of everything that is going on. It's really exciting to talk about them, but I don't think anybody's going to be signing a whole bunch of players just yet, okay? Not at least until they get to see, their team, or unless the team really already thinks they know what the problem is, but we've seen moves already be made. You see contract extensions, but those guys are already on their team, so, there's no surprises there. So we'll see what the Detroit Lions do this offseason. Hopefully that clears it up. About $21.5 million right now in cap space. Once they sign Jay Sean, it'll probably go down to just under 21, maybe just about $21 million in cap space. So they would have money to sign, a short-term veteran, and that's what I think they would do this offseason, if anybody. So let me know your thoughts, comments below. Who should the Lions sign? Hopefully that helped. Thank you, Pat, for watching, and I'm out.